Give us some background on the Heritage Centre.
The Heritage Centre was actually set up some 3 years ago. It was a case of we were doing the window up on quite regular occasions, and people were saying it'd be nice to have somewhere where there could be a display permanently put on for people who were coming into the cafe or into the Spectrum Centre in general, and be able to sort of witness a bit of the culture and a bit of the memories and some of the collectibles that have come through the area and represent the area. So we decided then that when we would go and we would get cabinets and we would take over part of the cafe and create a small heritage centre. What we would do then is we would display a lot of the artefacts, whilst obviously keeping the front window as the theme part for public walking by. So it has grown unbelievably, so we have a huge stock of artifacts and of collectibles and memorabilia, and we like to balance it because we certainly could do a military thing, for every cabinet, but I honestly believe that social history plays such an important part within the Shankill and the people and the psyche of the Shankill people, the memories of the little houses and the tight communities that will dominate the little heritage centre. So that's why the main cabinet at the back reflects social history, and the other smaller cabinets bring up all the other different topics.
Right. How has the community responded to the Heritage Centre?
The community has responded fantastically, in as much as we take donations practically on a daily basis, with reference to the issue of coming visiting it. It is busier during holiday times when people would bring relatives up and have a look at it. And the Heritage Centre goes a small way. I mean, it goes, in terms of covering what we have lost within the Shankill, it sort of covers a postage stamp. But we had lost our museum, the Shankill, which was Fernhill House. And the Heritage Centre was one of these things that was there to, certainly couldn't fill that gap, but it could go to some way explaining our culture and the background of the Shankill. So that's its role, and it fits in well with the community and how the community responds to that.
Great. So who are the major clientele?
The major clientele are Shankill people themselves, and people who would come in either for meetings or visits to the Spectrum or the Greater Shankill Partnership, and they would obviously have maybe a business lunch down there, and that would instill a bit of interest. And the amount of sort of offshoots from that are fantastic. We had a couple of guys up who were here for sort of a medical seminar, and 3 weeks later the guy had his whole family up because it turned out his grandmother had came from the Shankill, so they come up then. And that's exactly what we do, I think, in terms of being successful, is if we can attract one person who would not normally come up to Shankill out of every 50, then we are fulfilling that role, and we're spreading the word that the Shankill has some good stories to be told.
So I guess kind of along those lines, what are your plans for the future?
Oh, to get bigger. Heart of Hearts plans, recreate a new museum, and give the Shankill people back what they had originally. We are not asking for anything new, and as much as there was an original museum here above the library across the road in 1927, and it lasted up until World War II, and it diminished and it was taken over and put up in the Ulster Museum. We then had in the early 90s Fernhill House, the People's Museum, and it went in the early 2000s, and now we feel the road is there, and we're gauging the interest, and we really do believe that either the conflict or the social history or the military history or the industrial history or the church history, there's a huge story to be told for the whole area, and there's no better way of doing it as an educational resource, and for something for people coming around the area outside of probably the conflict and finding out just what made this area tick, than to do it through a proper museum /heritage centre.
Right. Great.
Okay.